Hi there. How's it going? I look blue. Everything looks blue. Why? What have I done? Well, I cleaned the lens. Is that a new iPhone feature? Every time you swipe your lens, it'll turn a different color. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I like that. Anyway, how's it going? I have been pondering for weeks, maybe even months, whether it was time or not to buy new shoes. And I know there's a lot going on in the world, and to have this discussion right now, maybe it's inappropriate. I don't even know. I'm not sure what is inappropriate these days. I mean, I'm sure there are a couple things I'm pretty positive are, but yeah, it changes sometimes, the line. But yeah, I'm one of those guys that even when I was a kid, I would wear, and I think I did this because my family was poor. So whenever my mom would buy me a pair of shoes, I made those son of a bitches last forever. And to the point where I would get teased by other kids because they were the kids that had money or whose parents had money. They were always showing off their new shoes. They were really prideful of that. I never had a shoe pride. I never had like a big I've got to have a certain kind of shoe, and there's no status thing connected in my mind to it. I want comfort. I want durability, reliability. Comfort mainly, and I want them to last for a long time. One of the reasons that I do buy splurge every once in a while and buy Adidas or Adidas. How do you pronounce that? Adidas. Whenever I've seen documentaries, say on football, soccer, that are made in Europe, they always pronounce it Adidas, which for years I always thought it was Adidas. So I'll keep saying Adidas until somebody corrects me. But I would always buy Adidas because they make good shoes, and they last for a really long time. I was never like a big Nike guy. I would always I called them hand me ups. My little brother would give me his shoes, and even though his foot's smaller, I would get into them and stretch them out, and they'd become my shoe. Weird thing. But yeah, and then when I switched over to not wanting to wear any more leather products, that became an issue because I couldn't find any. I really did like Adidas shoes, but that I knew of, they weren't making like non-leather shoes. My all-time favorite shoe is the Samba, which of course everybody wears now. I've got 3 pairs of those still that go back probably 10 years. They're still in really good condition. In fact, I wore a pair recently because I kind of missed them. I have them. I'm not buying any more leather goods, but I have them, and I don't want them to go to waste. So every once in a while, I'll bring them out of the closet and dust them off, and they're in great shape. I can just take a little sort of a wipey deal and go along, and they look like new. It's crazy, all of them. But as those get older, they're less and less comfortable. What I discovered a few years back, or a couple years back at least a year and a half back, was that the Adidas that I found, and I think they're called, what are they called? Like Racer? No, that's not the receipt. Anyway, they're like Racer. I think Adidas Racers. They're nice. It's all sort of canvasy and synthetic stuff. There's no leather, and I found these pair that I bought about a year and a half ago at a shoe chain, and they fit great, and they came with this thing called Cloud Foam, and this is riveting stuff, you guys. I mean, you're not going to find this just anywhere on YouTube. But Cloud Foam is amazing. I mean, I'm actually... hey, Jason, how's it going? What size? I wear a 13. I got a big-ass foot. And I don't remember when... I feel like I had a foot growth spurt at some point in my middle age. Because I used to wear 11 and a half. Some shoes I can still squeeze into a 12, but with the Adidas, I have to get, there's this weird, the 12 is just a little too tight. So 13s, I think there's a little teeny bit of a room for my toes, but it's a comfort. Anyway, yeah, 13, which seems like crazy to me. But I found this shoe that was non-leather, and it's great. And so I bought 2 pairs of them when I got them. And yeah, 6'4". See, that makes sense to me. I'm 5'10", so I don't know. I mean, I don't think I look awkward. Maybe nobody has told me, they haven't had the heart to tell me that I look like a clown because of my shoes, you know? I mean, I'm sure people have thought I look like a clown for other reasons, but yeah. But I look in the mirror and they don't look abnormally large, you know? I don't know. It is what it is, right? What can I do? I can't. Can you get foot reduction? I guess you can. You can get part of it amputated. I know a guy recently that has foot amputated, actually. I'm not making a joke about it. I just dawned on me. But yeah, so I bought these two pairs of. There was a deal. It was like you buy one pair for, I think it was like $80 or $79, and then you get another pair for half price. They had some deals. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I'll buy these 2 pairs of shoes and I'll have shoes for days. And lo and behold, I wore the shit out of those shoes, both pairs, to the point where, well, I have one of the pairs on right now, and even though there's no rips or frayed stuff, they're just worn, you know, the soles are worn, but they're still comfortable because they still have the cloud foam in them. And I've even added, you know, layers of the cushiony stuff that you can buy at like Target. And it's like walking around on a cloud. It's really wonderful. Anyway, so today, you know, instead of going out and buying gifts for other people, which, you know, I just have been always bad at, I said, you know what? You know, I walk around a lot. I have to go get a pair of shoes. God damn it. So I kind of been hinting to Allison, my wife, for a while. I think I need to get some shoes, and she doesn't really care either way. So, you know, I did it. I just said, I'm out and about. I was working earlier, and I thought, I'm over by this little shoe store, and I went in, and actually, I was thinking I wouldn't be able to find the same kind of shoes, and I did, and they were like $64. I didn't buy 2 pairs. I should have, but, so yeah. Anyway, that's, you know, that brings me to the question, how often do you buy shoes? Like, are you like a shoe freak? I mean, you can answer this like in the replay if you feel like it, or not answer it at all. You know, is it weird that an adult man just wears the shit out of his shoes until he is forced to go buy new shoes? You know, is that common? Is it rare? I don't know. I'm still growing. I'm still learning as I move along, shuffle along in this life. But yeah, I'm very excited to get into them. I have a gig tomorrow, so I think I'm going to wear them for the first time at the gig. And it'll put me in a good mood. I'll be comfortable. You know, I don't know that anybody will notice them because they're just black. You know, there's no fancy, everything's black. Even the little fancy stripes, the Adidas stripes, are black. You know, I'm not even like going for style at this point. But yeah, I'm really curious how often people buy shoes. I know Allison buys, you know, she's got a closet full of, like, she likes Chuck Taylors, you know. I could never wear Chucks. They just don't give me enough support. They feel like I'm wearing paper bags on my feet. They look great, you know, and I like the lightness of them, or I like the idea that they're a lighter shoe, but yeah, they're not comfortable to me. I gotta have all comfort and everything. But I'm sitting here in this, there's a shopping mall across the street. I was driving earlier, doing some driving work, and I took a guy from one part of town across, and I saw the address. I didn't recognize it immediately, and I said, so we're going to blah, 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 and he said, yeah, we're going to the mall. And I'm like, oh, my God. He goes, hey, man, if you don't feel like going into the parking lot and dealing with that, you can just drop me off across the street. And I said, hey, you know what, if you're brave enough to go shopping the day before Christmas Eve, I'm brave enough to drive you all the way up to the fucking door if you want that. But he was a nice guy. He took pity on me, and he said, hey, don't worry about it. Go ahead and pull over this Shell gas station, and I'll get out here. And I can't, the mall looked, you know, just from the outside, just from out across the street from the parking lot, it looked like a complete insane zoo of a situation. and I don't know why anybody would be doing last-minute shopping the day before Christmas Eve. I just don't. I don't get it. I mean, I guess I know we all have lives. We got to go do stuff, but man, oh man, I just can't. I can't imagine. So I'm across the street from that at another sort of a little strip mall, and it's not bad here. I'm kind of hanging out. There's plenty of parking. Even in the store, there was no real there was not a big traffic jam of humanity whatsoever. It was very nice. I'm just killing time right now. I also decided to go to there's a little art store, and I like these little canvas panels. These are like 5x7. 5x7. There's like 5 of them for $4. That's not bad. And then these are little 4x6s, and there's 5 of them for $3. So these are great because I can paint on them. I like to sell art at my shows, at my music shows. In fact, and as I've said often, I actually sell more of my art at the merch table these days than my music. And it took a while for me to get used to that. That was a tough one. That was sort of a big, I wouldn't say a big blow to the ego, but it was a bit of a blow to the ego. It was like, why do I even go out and play music anymore? Why don't I? Maybe I should just go out and paint. I mean, I'm selling the shit out of my artwork. Maybe that's what I got to do. But yeah, I like these, and I've got some. I just bought some little cheapy brushes, little liner brushes. I don't give a lot of advice to people. Sometimes people will ask me, but if you were to ask me, if you were a young artist and you were to ask me, Kevin, give me some advice. What would you suggest? Yeah, I want to do art, a lot of it. What would you suggest? Any tips? And I would say, no. No, I would say, yeah. Okay, here we go. This is a multifaceted broadcast here. So we're not just talking shoes. We're talking about art. Who knows what else we'll do? I do have to leave here soon. What time is it? All right, it's almost 4. I gotta go. All right. So, but what I would say would be, you don't have to buy expensive materials. You don't have to go out and buy really expensive brushes, paints, pencils, pens, canvases, paper. It's nice to do, if you're doing printing, it's nice to print it out on good. I still print on the best, cheapest paper I can find because, I don't have a lot of money, and I also, no matter what you say or do, you always have to end up passing the costs down to the customers. Like if they want good frames, a frame sometimes is like, I don't know, it's more money than I want to spend. So I always go and buy really cheap frames, and I tell them, I said, like, they're cheap frames. Obviously, if you buy the artwork, you can do whatever the hell you want with them. And a lot of times people will take them out of the frames and want me to sign them, which is, it's another weird thing. It's like, well, I signed it. There's a little teeny down at the bottom. You can see I signed the painting. That makes it legit. That makes it, that's how you know that I painted the thing, right? People want a silver pen signature or whatever. People like autographs. Who knows? Who knows how their mind works? But the other advice I would say is never. The one thing that you do, and I think I've talked to a lot of other people that make art, and that they've also acknowledged that they do, is when they first started out, they were just so thrilled that anybody would like their art, let alone want to buy their art, like spend money to purchase their art. And it is a strange feeling, that there's somebody that wants to buy something that you actually created. It's different when you when you mass produce a record or a CD or a T-shirt, because that stuff is going out. It's almost like it's just it's just on the assembly line. It's the exact same. But the art, every piece is different. Every piece has a story that's completely different from the last piece. And depending on the kind of artist you are, I tend to get kind of, not for all of it, but I tend to get a attached to a lot of the things that I did. One of the reasons that early on when I was painting, I would just paint a lot of stuff, and I had paintings all over my bedroom and my house as I got older. People say, "Is this all your stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they'd say, "Well, you should sell it." And I'm like, "Why would I do that?" But I was attached to some of these things, like I remember how much fun it was to paint or draw. I remember, maybe there was something going on in my life that I connected to that made me gave me more of a sentimental connection to it. Or I just really liked it. I liked the way it looked on a desk or on a wall, or, sitting, propped up against something. So when you get to a point where people want to buy your art, it's a really weird feeling, because it's like you're happy, and the moment somebody hands you money or buys one of your pieces, you're like, wow, that's amazing, and then you're like kind of hooked on it. It's like, I like it, this is cool. So what I would say though is early on, kind of try to have a better understanding of your time, effort, and worth as an artist, because I know personally that I spend a great deal of time on every piece I do. Even when I'm just doing doodling, it always gets to a point where I start to want to detail stuff. It looks like my connection's weird. Looks like I start to want to detail everything. First I want to just do a line drawing, and I cannot do just line drawings. I've tried so hard as an exercise just to calm my brain down a little bit, my creative mind, I guess. But I always want to fill it in and shade and put some stuff in there just to give it some depth. And it kind of works against the purpose of why I'm doing that exercise. But yeah, I tend to spend a lot of time on every little piece, and I commit to it. And so over the years I've talked to different artists who will tell me they'll see the prices I'm asking for, especially at shows, and they'll say, "Dude, that is way too cheap. That piece is you should not be charging only that amount. You should charge much more than that, double that." I've had this happen a lot. And back in the day I used to say, well, you know what? I don't really care, because it brings me joy that I just got a weird message. That brings me joy so much, and just for the fact that somebody wants it, I'm profiting from it. The material's already paid for, but I wasn't really thinking about my time, and I wasn't really thinking about my effort. And there is such a thing, and this happens in music as well, where if you put a lot of stuff out, for the longest time in music, I was always making these demo tapes and just giving them out to people here in Sacramento. I do it every once in a while when I'd hit the road, but I just make I'd burn a CD, put some homemade artwork. Sometimes I'd charge $5 for it. And, I was on a CD, it's on a burned CD, so it's not like I could charge more than that. But I think what happened was, and I've talked about this a number of times, is that it started to make people, it just, in their minds, it started to kind of devalue me a little bit. I'm going to move. It would devalue what I do, because they were like, well, he's always cranking stuff out, so I'll just wait till I have money, and then the next time he has something he sells, I'll buy it, maybe. And I think that happens a lot. I really do. I think, let's go this way. I'm going to try to avoid the main road. So, anyway, the moral of the story is, don't underestimate your value and your worth. It's hard to figure what that is. And I've gradually, I started coming up with my own system. I try to factor in the size of a piece, the amount of time I spent, how much extra I used for on a canvas, or fancy paper, or fancy frame. I try to factor in everything, but yeah, it's hard, but it's something to be mindful of. And yeah, that's about it, I think. I'm trying to maneuver my way out of this parking lot and make sure that I don't hit anybody. It's really beautiful here today. It's let me see if I can switch over so you guys can see. Let's see if we can do this. No. Hey. Maybe not. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Sorry, I was not going to hold my camera, but it fell off into my hands. Yes. Yes. What just happened there? Alright, anyway, I'm screwing everything up right now. Alright, well, that's about it for this live streamed mess. I'm going to go and do some work. I got to go pick up a couple of things. I'm going to work on art tonight. I got 2 commission pieces I got to finish and work on some music, and then we got a gig tomorrow. Every year we do an annual Christmas Eve big gig, and it's always myself and Allison, our friend Kepi Gooley, our friend Jonah Matranga, and our friend David Houston, and we just play together. We share a stage, and we take turns doing our songs, and we all sing and play, and it's a very big hippie thing, but it's great. It's really a lot of fun, and we always get people out for that. And it's the closest I get to really celebrating any kind of holiday thing, to be honest with you. I'm just not much of a holiday celebrator, but I applaud those of you who do, and respect whatever you want to do, as long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting anybody. What do I care, right? All right, you guys, it's been fun. Thank you. If you're watching this later, thank you. That's all I can say. And until next time. Turn off. Stop.